welcome to the Winner Circle. I'm Dr. Sean, your host. So let's continue the conversation we've been having on how to win and how we can win together. Each week we're joined by a guest who not only cares a lot about what's going on in our community, but who also has special expertise or experience to help us to keep winning. It's National Women's Month, and we're recognizing and acknowledging women, probably more like we should be doing anyway. And today we're joined by a guest who's not only a woman, but she's a wife, she's a mom, and a full-time practicing physician. Without further ado, I introduce you to Dr. Dewan Carpenter. Dr. Carpenter, welcome to the Winner Circle.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hubbard, for having me.
Absolutely, thanks for joining in. Women do so much in our community. I don't know how you guys get it done. I don't sit, but I watch my wife do so much at home and try to help and be supportive, and she's glad that I'm supportive. But at times I even realize I have to protect her from the dog even. When she comes home, the dog will be like over her, so I'll actually block him off. So many things are being asked of our women and moms in our society, and so I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. I understand that you have a new project, or perhaps it's not so new, but you've been working on supporting women. I wanted to hear how you got started with this whole project, this idea.
Yes, well, so I started Twin Mom Chronicles really after having kind of my own breakdown after finding that I was unexpectedly pregnant and having twins nonetheless, and trying to navigate that, already having two kids, trying to be a new mom to twins who are, demanding the same things from you at the same time, and it's only one of you. And I realized that in the midst of all of that, somewhere along the way, I didn't know where I fit in anymore. And the more I talked to people and other twin moms, I realized that that wasn't something that was unique to me. It was something that all of us experience. And I think most moms, even if they've just had one kid, somewhere in that process feel that way. So I felt it was my duty, I recognize the problem. And so I figured, well, if it's not just me, there's not a solution out there. Let's create a solution for it.
Excellent, excellent. Now, the solution, is it specifically for moms that have multiple children, moms that have twins, particularly for those that are working? Let me understand that part.
Correct. So I help professional twin moms who pretty much are feeling overwhelmed with kind of the day-to-day of trying to manage their household, trying to manage their career, and somewhere along the way, at some point in time, are trying to also find some time for themselves to be able to unwind and de-stress.
Okay. So we don't have twins, and what I'm gleaning from what you're saying is that there is something unique about having twins, that twin moms experience, and not only being a dad that I wouldn't be aware of, but what is it about twin moms? I mean, aside from the obvious, you have double requests, double needs. I think maybe I'm answering my own question now.
Correct.
But you have simultaneous needs going on.
It's multiple factors. So you have kind of the normal parenting, I'll say challenges, if you will. But also you're going through stages, all of those infant stages, all of those adolescent stages. It's double, or, if you have triplets or, quadruplets, it's triple to quadruple the amount that one would experience. And so, one parent is already outnumbered. So for parents of multiples, not only is it the additional physical stressors, I would say, of trying to be able to get the kids, kind of in the same area, particularly when they're infants, trying to nurse them or feed them at the same time. If you're just by yourself, when they're crying and screaming their heads off at the same time, they like to do group activities. And so you're trying to manage that. So just think about that as a parent. Remember when your kids were young and you're sleep deprived and they're screaming and you've done everything. Okay, you're not wet, you're not hungry, maybe you're sleepy, but you don't want to go to sleep. It's kind of that exponential effect that parents experience. And then, particularly for me, one of the things that I noticed was that a lot of the twin moms or moms of multiples, because it wasn't just twins, a lot of them ended up choosing to stay at home because it was easier, whether, for time purposes or even financial. I mean, the daycare bill for one child is already a lot. So trying to do two at the same time, for a lot of families, it worked out to be better financially for one person to stay home. And it wasn't always the mom. But when you're trying to balance that itself, just by itself, and then for me, trying to resume my career, well, I didn't have any support for that. Who was doing that could give me any advice to say, okay, this is how you manage it. This is how you pump in between patients.
Right.
There was no formula for that. And that was the part that I really felt that I was missing. Still trying to, be an awesome clinician, but also still trying to be an awesome mom, an awesome wife, awesome friend, and also just being awesome to myself.
Sure. My goodness. Wow. You've described the challenges very well. I'm starting to feel it. And, you took me back a little bit to when ours were really young, but it was just one at a time. And that was challenging enough. So I do feel what you're saying. I have noticed that the workplaces are starting to be more supportive and more open and more adaptive to moms. Is that taking shape, and is that helping enough in your view, or no?
I think it's very slow, and I think it's definitely dependent upon where you are. In my workplace currently, I think that we're not as evolved as I would like for us to be. One of the things that particularly was dear to my heart is having a comfortable space to breastfeed, or to be able to pump when you're at work. And obviously that's not my challenge right now, but there is one of the therapists that I work with that recently came back from maternity leave. And while she has a space, it's not a nice, comfy space. It was something that they kind of, this wasn't being used, so you can use this room. And for me, I don't think that that's really acceptable. If we're embracing, motherhood and motherhood in the workplace, then there needs to be a dedicated space. It needs to be a nice, comfortable space. I mean, as a medical student having my first kid, I remember clearly I was pumping in the bathroom. Now, medical schools perhaps didn't foresee that challenge, but I think there are still many workplaces that have not quite evolved that far. And I think that's one area that certainly is easy enough to make those shifts.
Definitely. Let me ask what your experience has been with hospitals in terms of developing places for moms, because there are many women of childbearing age that work there. What do you see with hospitals in terms of having adapted in this way?
Yeah, what I've noticed is a lot of the bigger hospitals, that tend to have maybe more of a budget, a financial budget, tend to have that kind of in place already. I'll give a shout out to my home state. I actually was at a conference at Ohio State University, and on their medical center, they had the nicest, specific breastfeeding kind of lactation room. But smaller hospitals, particularly the community hospitals, I think either it's one of those items that hasn't really hit the budget yet. I think they're still kind of behind in trying to make it work as best that they can. But definitely, I see that they're shifting to that direction to actually start having those conversations to make those changes to make it a comfortable place for women to return back to work.
Sure, sure. So everything that you're saying is underscoring the need that was there for something like exactly what you're doing. I can see how that mission developed within you because the need was just so stark. So let me understand more about Twin Mom Chronicles and the experiences that you're having. People are finding you because of other associations, and how are you able to help moms?
Yeah, so I'm definitely out kind of, in the social media spaces. And there's so many opportunities now, to lessen the distance because of the internet. And so moms are finding me, or, I'm finding them and contacting them and say, it's okay. We all have felt the same way. And essentially what I do is two things. One is creating an online community for moms to have a safe space to be able to, talk about the challenges that they otherwise would feel maybe embarrassed to discuss, in the public forum, or feel that they wouldn't be able to relate to someone else that they may be speaking to about the challenges that they feel. And then the second thing is actually coaching those moms to find a better way to be able to do the things that they want and need to do and lessen the stress. And I think a lot of that comes from mindset. As our society has evolved, there are still some things that have not evolved, and particularly, the views on women are one of those. The statistics hasn't changed. Women are still underpaid. And yet they end up being the ones also that are taking work home. And so it's spilling over into the home life. And for a lot of us moms, there's a lot of guilt associated with that. The guilt of, okay, I'm away from my family, I'm away from my home, and I'm doing a good thing by trying to have this career and help others, but what is it doing to my family?
Wow.
What is it doing to my peace of mind?
Sure.
So there's a huge challenge around that. And additionally,
Dr. Carpenter,
being able,
yeah, we might, I want to pick up on some of what you said there, especially, I mean, the problem is huge, and I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. And it sounds like you have a wonderful set of solutions, actually. I want to ask you more about that. We're just going to take a break, and then we'll come back and I'll follow up on a lot of that coaching that you do in the community, online community of support that you have building there, and then a few more questions, okay?
Okay, sure.
After these messages. We'll join you after a few moments, guys. Hang in there.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no-obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
Boardwalks built for fun. Legendary rock and roll clubs.
This is how we do it.
Casinos by the ocean.
Hippity hop.
Now that's New Jersey. 130 miles of beautiful beaches. Solid rock. And everything in between.
Look in the window.
Now that's New Jersey.
Burlington County College.
Is now Rowan College of Burlington County.
Still the same great faculty.
At a community college ranked top 50 in the nation.
Basically, we earn more and pay less.
RCBC students are accepted at Rowan University after graduation.
And get a bachelor's degree for around $30,000.
Online and Mount Laurel students get a 15% Rowan University tuition discount.
And have many scholarship opportunities.
So you earn more and pay even less.
Rowan College of Burlington County.
Your path to success.
Welcome back to the Winner Circle, guys. We're talking to Dr. Carpenter here, who has started Twin Mom Chronicles to help and support moms who have twins but also multiple children. Dr. Carpenter, we were talking during the break about how children, when they have problems and when they have issues, they go to mom, you know. They want mom's nurturing. We have kids that are 17, 20, 22, 24. When I talk to them all, everything's great, even to this day. I find out that they have problems from when they talk to mom, and then she lets me know, really. So you guys have a lot on your plates, even when dads are there and we want to be supportive. So I wanted to understand more about what is going on with Twin Mom Chronicles, and how about the online community? How is that working?
So the online community works. It's a private group where moms are either invited or they request to join the community, and it is private. None of the information that we discuss is shared with anyone, but it's that safe space where maybe the things that you don't want to say to your partner or to your family, you can express in that group. And that just by itself is, a weight off of most moms' shoulders. That day is just like, this is not working, and then knowing that everyone else who's reading that, everyone else who you're contacting, they know exactly what you're talking about. They've either been there, they're currently there. And so you don't get the judgment, you don't get the, well, you should have done this. It's, Mama, I totally get it. We understand. What can we do to support you? What do you need right now in this moment? And I think for a lot of us, that's exactly what you need. Not somebody trying to, fix it and make it better, tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but just, I'm here for you. What do you need right now?
That's really nice. That's excellent. It's when you go to a place and people are there specifically for support, it is pretty meaningful.
Yes.
Rather than outside of that space. I can appreciate what you're saying. And then there are some one-on-one opportunities as well for when people need special, unique attention. Do I hear you saying?
Yes. So there are one-on-one opportunities for, a specific coaching, just based on each individual mom's situation. What I'm actually moving more towards is creating group coaching. Because again, I think the power of community is so important. I actually describe this as a Thrive Tribe, because, just like it takes a village to raise a kid, yes. I think it takes a tribe to raise a mom. Wow. And, that support from one person is awesome. But when you get support from 3, 4, 5, 10 moms, yes, that's even better. Excellent. And I think that the power of community just makes that support, have an exponential impact.
Awesome. That sounds very exciting. I wonder if you could share a success story, if you have one at the tip of your tongue, or you can think of one. Some success stories of somebody who had some challenges at wit's end, and now they joined your group, got some coaching, and now they're experiencing their days differently.
Sure. So one mom actually had a medical condition that created a lot of pain for her, and so it made it difficult just for her to function day to day by herself. Throw in children and the responsibilities that you have. Let's not forget coronavirus pandemic. which limits everyone to their home. And, there's challenges upon challenges. And so there was a lot of stress for this mom, and not just the stress, but also the pain, which then was exacerbated by the stress. And so one of the things that we talked about, like I said, mindset is everything. And so you have to really get into a place where you look at your situation differently. It doesn't change what's going on, but you look at it differently. I describe it as stepping out of the swirl. So if you imagine a tornado, everything's spinning around you. But if you step in the middle of that spinning, right, you can see everything happening around you, but you're not in it. You're not spinning with it. And so that's kind of what I describe as the mindset change. You don't have to spin with the swirl. But now let's look at it differently. And it's those small steps, those small changes. So one of the things that I always encourage moms to do, and I say this because I have to do it myself, is I was never a morning person, but I've learned to really embrace those morning times, to get up early when at least no one is up, or people are still kind of stirring but quiet, and do something for yourself, whether that's taking a hot shower uninterrupted, whether that is reading a devotional, whether it's meditation. Those are the things that set your day up for success. And it also, in this mom's case, it also helped to decrease the stress, which then also decreased the pain and allowed her to show up for her family the way that she wanted to. And so, then creating a schedule of, okay, I have to do this for my kids, but, after this, I can take a nap. I can read a book. I can do something else to fuel myself and keep myself going. And honestly, that's what we all want, to be able to show up as our best selves, our authentic selves. And we have better connections with our families, with our friends, and even within our careers.
Right. Definitely. I can see where the one-on-one would be helpful. And I could definitely see where the small group and even the larger group community can be supportive. And I really appreciate the aspect of when you gave the metaphor of the tornado. If you're in that spinning cycle, then all of the energy of that cycle takes you up, and your choices don't feel as much available. But
Exactly.
When you're in the center of it, now you can look and think, see what's happening and make choices because you feel like you can make them. And I like your morning meditation that you recommend there. That's perfect, yeah. And so suppose somebody wants to look you up and be a part. How do they find you and your group particularly?
Yes, well, I am on Instagram as Twin Mom Doctor, and that's Twin Mom DOCTOR. You can also email me at twinmomdoctor@gmail.com. And I have a website, and the website is Twin Mom Chronicles, and that's CHRONICLES.com.
Perfect. Now, the personal development aspect of this too. It sounds like there's a personal development and I guess if we grow as people, then we're more effective at work and at home. Oh, I see what you're saying. And then you become more your authentic self. I'm putting this together. I'm understanding, and I can see how a person would definitely benefit. So you speak to this a lot more effectively than I do and think about it more regularly. I wonder if you don't mind closing out the segment with a final word on in support of moms.
Sure. To all the moms out there, know that it is not just you. What helps you the most is when you put yourself first, not neglecting your family, but filling your cup every day so that you can pour out and serve your family and your community the way that you desire to. We've got your back. Make sure that you take care of you so you can take care of everyone else.
Wonderful, beautiful message. Dr. Carpenter, thank you so much for joining us in the Winner Circle with all that wonderful information and supportive information. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome, awesome. And to you in the Winner Circle, thank you so much for joining us for this message. That was a perfect message, a lot of information for me, as well as you, I'm sure. I wish I had heard that when, even as a young dad with small kids, I could have thought through this and been more supportive. It's nice to know exactly what our partners are going through and how we can support them as partners and as a society when we look at our moms and women out there who are holding it together at home as well as at work and in between. So many things are being asked of women and of moms. It's just incredible. I appreciate what you do. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing this message. Look for us to give more messages like this on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. and as well Mondays at 2 p.m. right here on RVN TV. Look for us wherever you saw this particular message. And until then, we'll be developing more programs and have more exciting and informative guests like Dr. Carpenter. Until we meet again, keep winning, guys. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.